Hi, and welcome to YourScripts. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of Rumplestiltskin. While it may not be as well known as some other fairy tales, it's truly an incredible tale with a captivating storyline that you won't want to miss. So, let's jump right in. Once upon a time, like how all of these stories start, there was a poor miller who had a beautiful daughter. One day, the miller wanted to impress the king, so he told him,
"My daughter can spin straw into gold."
Like lying to the king isn't a bad idea. The king who collect gold like a dragon thought,
This is a special talent. I must see it for myself.
he said to the miller,
Bring your daughter to my castle tomorrow. If she really can do this, I will reward her.
The next day, the miller's daughter was taken to the castle. The king led her to a large room filled with straw and gave her a spinning wheel. He said,
If you do not turn all of this straw into gold by morning, you will die.
No pressure. The poor girl was terrified. She didn't know how to turn straw into gold, and she had no idea what to do. She sat there feeling hopeless and began to cry. Just as she was crying, the door suddenly opened and a little man appeared. He asked her,
Why are you crying, miller's daughter?
She told him her sad story, explaining that the king wanted her to spin all the straw into gold, but she didn't know how. The little man thought for a moment, then said,
I can help you, but what will you give me in return?
The girl didn't know what else to offer, but she took off her necklace and said,
I will give you my necklace if you help me.
The little man smiled, took the necklace, and sat down at the spinning wheel. He began to work quickly, spinning the straw into gold. The wheel went round and round, and before long, all the straw was spun into shining gold. By morning, all the straw was gone and the room was filled with golden threads. The king came in and saw the gold. He was amazed and very pleased, for he loved gold more than anything. But he wasn't satisfied yet,
This is very impressive,
said the king.
but I want more gold. Take her to an even bigger room, and if she can spin all of that into gold by morning, I will reward her handsomely.
The girl was taken to a much larger room filled with straw, and once again, the king locked the door behind her. The poor girl didn't know what to do. She sat down and began to cry again. Soon, the little man appeared again like a built-in cry detector. He asked,
What will you give me if I spin all this straw into gold for you?
The girl didn't have anything left, but she said,
I will give you my ring.
The little man agreed, snatched the ring, and began to spin. The wheel went round and round, and by morning, all the straw had been spun into gold once again. The king was overjoyed when he saw the gold, but he still wasn't satisfied. He wanted even more.
Take her to the biggest room of all,
He ordered.
and if she spins all of that straw into gold, I will make her my wife.
Romantic, right? The miller's daughter was taken to an even larger room, and once again, she was left alone with the straw. She didn't know what to do. The little man appeared for a third time and asked,
What will you give me if I spin this straw into gold?
The girl was so desperate that she said,
I have nothing left to give.
The little man thought for a moment and said,
Then promise me that when you become queen, you will give me your first child.
Now, nobody wants to promise away their future baby, but with it being life or death, she didn't have much of a choice, so she agreed. The little man began spinning the straw, and by morning the whole room was filled with gold. The king came in, and seeing the gold, he was overjoyed. He married the miller's daughter, and she became a queen. A year later, the queen had a beautiful child. She was happy with her new life and had forgotten all about the little man. But one day, he suddenly appeared in her room and said,
Now give me what you promised me.
The queen was horrified and begged him to let her keep her child. She offered him all the riches of the kingdom, but the little man refused. He wanted the child, not gold or riches. The queen was desperate and began to cry. The little man, seeing her distress, said,
I will give you 3 days. If you can guess my name by the end of that time, you may keep the child.
The queen spent the whole first night thinking of every name she had ever heard. The next day, she sent messengers all over the kingdom to find out as many names as they could. When the little man came the next day, the queen tried to guess his name.
Are you called Casper?
She asked.
No,
He replied.
Are you called Melchior?
no,
She went through all the names she could think of, but each time he replied.
that is not my name.
On the second day, the queen asked her servants and the people around her for more weird names.
Could it be roast ribs? Or spindleshanks?
She asked. But the little man just chuckled and replied.
That is not my name.
On the third day, the messenger returned with a strange story. He had been walking through the forest when he saw a little house and a small man dancing around a fire. The little man was hopping on one leg and singing,
Today I bake, tomorrow I brew. The day after that the queen's child comes in. And oh, I am glad that no one knew that my name is Rumplestiltskin.
The queen was so excited to learn his name. When the little man came to her again, she played it cool.
Are you called Jack?
He said.
No,
She asked.
Are you called Harry?
He said. And
no.
finally, the queen asked.
Is your name Rumpelstiltskin?
The little man was furious.
The devil told you that. The devil told you that.
He cried. In his rage, he stomped his foot so hard that it sank deep into the ground. He then grabbed his other leg and twisted it, tearing himself in two. Dramatic exit for a dramatic guy. The queen and her child were safe, and they lived happily ever after. Except maybe the miller, who probably never bragged to a king again. And that is the story of Rumpelstiltskin. Did you enjoy? Make sure to like and subscribe. See you next time.